Hey YouTube, this is a video response to Zornstar's video from over a month ago now on survival. He posts a little hypothesis, a little idea about just an interesting survival challenge almost. Um, the entire modern population of humans is transported to a world where humans never were. So everyone moves in space, not at all, but where there were houses, no houses, where there were whatever, nothing. So he asks what we would think would happen in that situation, and a few questions. What is the bottom level of human population? What is the first thing you would do, and do you think you would survive? And I love sort of questions and stuff like this. I'm a little bit of a survivalist. I do a lot of bushcraft. I love stuff like this just as thought exercises. So the first thing that happens is a lot of people are going to die. Everyone in Africa who needs retrovirals against the AIDS virus, they're all going to die very quickly. That's not very good. Everyone on any form of advanced medicine, they're all going to die. That's not very good. Everyone who was in a skyscraper or something, they're going to splat. And then the rest of us are going to die. Because we need monster society. Sometimes I love the idea of anarcho-primitivism where sort of the world's problem is solved for all hunter-gatherers. It wouldn't be, and most everyone would die, including me probably with my bad eyesight. So what is the bottom level of human population? At the moment we're on what, nearly 7 billion people? Without modern infrastructure, the Earth's carrying capacity is a lot less than that. And I think it would get even lower than that. We wouldn't go down to the carrying capacity of the Earth. We would go down much lower than that and then rise back up slowly to the carrying capacity of the Earth and keep increasing the carrying capacity. We would, at least in somewhere like the UK, which is vastly overpopulated in terms of what its natural resources could support food-wise, particularly without advanced agriculture, in terms of what it could support for hunter-gatherers, if the current population were imported here, we would be like a plague of locusts over the land. It would be stripped bare, and the animals would all be hunted out, the plants would all be grubbed up for roots and berries, and everything possible would be eaten and consumed by everyone who knew how to find it. I think you'd probably see quite a lot of cannibalism and people turning on each other because that would be a ready source of food. And I'm kind of a believer in 3 meals away from anarchy. So yeah, the bottom level of human population, places that are more sparsely populated, sort of crofters up in northern Scotland, places like that, assuming they were able to survive the winter and so forth, assuming they were able to rebuild some of their lives, and quite a lot of people in rural areas have a lot of skills that would help them survive. I could see us dropping down to maybe 10 million people across the world. I mean, there'd probably be people like this who it wouldn't really matter what happened. So there's uncontacted tribes in the Amazon who probably wouldn't notice, except of course all their possessions would vanish, which is one of the major things that would affect my survival, and the first thing I would do, because I obviously, as someone who has bushcraft, I have a fair few tools that I would love to have with me in this sort of situation that would make my life 100 times easier. But I won't have them. Zornstar's scenario involves us ending up naked, like the Terminator sucked through a portal. And so the first thing I would probably do is shelter, fire, and then food, and then water. But it's going to be very hard because I'm not even going to have a pocket knife. And so quite possibly one of the very first things I'll do is tool making. And in that case, the place I'm in is quite fortunate. I'm in East Anglia, which has a fair amount of flint about. I'll have to look for a chalk outcrop to try and find it, because obviously none of it will have been dug out over the several thousand years we've been using it in East Anglia for a building material. And it's quite a skill actually to do it. I'm a fair enough napper, it's called, napping flint. I can do it reasonably well, make arrowheads and axe heads and so forth, but to really do it well and to do it reliably, it's a proper art form, so I'd have to get very good very quick. But yeah, first action would probably be work out if the geography is still the same. Because then I can look for local resources that I know are there. Except they probably won't be there because the farming for the past 3,000 years or so will have completely altered the landscape. Streams that I expect to be there won't be, stuff like that. So shelter, fire, water. That's probably the order I'd put it in. Because I need the fire to purify the water because I don't know what's in it, and knowing Norfolk and Suffolk and East Anglia in general, someone will have pissed in it. But that's neither here nor there. Do I think I would survive? No, I don't. I don't think many people would survive at all. I think you'd have to have a fair amount of primitivist skills, or at least be lucky enough to meet someone with primitive skills. You would have to be in a location where people who did not have those skills did not come after you and nick your stuff and kill you. And you'd have to be in a place where the population was low enough so that they didn't strip out all the natural resources available to you. And at the moment, natural resources then wouldn't be things like oil and copper ore and things like that, like some people have suggested in your comments. They would be things like good hazel staffs, rocks you can nap into weapons, berry trees, the animals around you. They would be your natural resources, and I think it would be incredibly fortuitous for me to survive. I would have to be very lucky, and as a bow hunter, as someone interested in bushcraft and wild foods, as someone who recognises, I look on the landscape around me as a larder, I don't think I'd survive. The average person who's only experienced with wild food is blackberries, and some people don't even realise you can eat blackberries, believe it or not. They would probably be screwed, and so would humanity. We need advanced society to keep us alive. And I know I've painted a really bleak picture, and it's not the fun world of rebuilding up technology, but to be quite honest, I think we'd be lucky to survive at all. We'd be very lucky to keep some sort of writing with us. In terms of rebuilding, that depends on so many different things. If people can stay organised, I think a government would immediately collapse, but maybe tight-knit military units would stick together. Maybe tight-knit research organisations, groups of people, I would hope would stick together. I know I'd stick together with my family and my friends if I could find them, because we're all very dispersed. But in general, humanity would be fucked in your situation, Zornstar, and rebuilding would be probably one of the least things on my mind. And this is coming from someone who knows a little bit of basic geology, who knows a little bit of basic metallurgy, who knows the basic historical processes of how they made tools and weapons from the Stone Age to the Copper Age to the Bronze Age to the Iron Age. And I know how to find those things roughly. I've never had to put it in a survival situation and practice, and you never know if you could really do something until then. But nah, we'd be fucked. So yeah, I'm sorry that's such a depressing answer, but it's the answer that I think is true. Thanks Zornstar, thanks YouTube, bye.